I think the headliner for the VA loan is
Yeah.
zero down. And there are ways to structure the deal so that the seller helps the buyer actually walk into the property with very little money out of pocket.
There's a lot of people who maybe know that they might be eligible for a VA loan, but it's been a while since they've used one and may not realize how powerful the VA loan really can be. A VA loan is a financing option for home buyers that are eligible, military service members, veterans,
Yep.
where the VA actually backs a portion of the loan. And because they do that, it lowers the risk to lenders and allows for the home buyer some pretty interesting and unique benefits, one of which being 0% for their down payment. They can come to the table with zero down on their home with like conventional loans. If you put less than 20% down, you are required to have mortgage insurance because until you have at least 20% down, you really have very little skin in the game. And you're asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars to borrow. So they require mortgage insurance. The VA loan is unique, however, because even with 0% down, no mortgage insurance is required, which can save hundreds of dollars a month on your mortgage
Very
payment.
nice. More buying power with your monthly payment.
Yep.
Nothing down and preferred rates, right?
Yeah. Incredibly competitive rates.
Yeah. If you want to find information on the VA loan, you can go to va.gov and see the ins and outs and all the rules of it. If you want to know if you're eligible, request your COE. You can do it online.
One of the nuances of the VA loan is that it is required to be your primary residence.
Absolutely. The VA loan is only for primary purchases.
Correct, yes.
Let's talk briefly about how this process goes. If I'm a buyer, I'm buying a house, I'm going to use a VA loan. What should I expect?
The first thing that you should do is get pre-approved.
All right. So I'm going to call my favorite lender.
Yep, there
and
we
get
go.
pre-approved. And hopefully I'll do this a couple weeks out before I'm actually, on the scene hunting for houses.
I also open up the idea of getting pre-approved to people even if they're not ready to, or don't know if they're ready yet to buy a house and
To
put in
find
an
out.
offer today, because buying a house is a really, really big deal. To keep it into perspective, getting pre-approved, I mean, that's a phone call. That's a conversation. We're looking
That
at
is
your
a good
situation.
Yeah.
We're looking at what your application looks like, what your documents look like, and kind of just preparing in advance to make sure that when you need to buy a home, when you're ready to move and talk to Andrew, that you are in a strong position to do so.
Yeah. So the process for the buyer, they're walking through this. They're going to get pre-approved. They're going to go shop for a home. They're going to find one they love and make an agreement on it. They get the contract signed, and then they need to put earnest money up,
Yep.
right? Earnest money is
It's like a good faith deposit. So you're saying, hey, seller, in exchange for you taking the house off of the market, in our contract we laid out that we're closing in 30 days. That's exactly the time that I need to finish getting financing, finish getting inspections done on the home, so I know that it's in good shape. I'm going to put this amount of money over with the title company.
So this is a good faith deposit they put down at the time of agreement.
Yes.
The title company holds it, and then it's credited to their side of the transaction
Correct.
at closing. And up next, you're going to do a home inspection. The VA requires the pest inspection be done.
Yep.
And that they get a clean copy of a pest inspection report.
Exactly, right? Yeah. They call it a wood destroying organisms report.
The WDO. So the VA requires a clean WDO to close. Your insurance company is going to require a 4-point and a wind mitigation report in order to give you any discounts. And then the rest of the home inspection is the buyer's. This is the buyer's opportunity to see what is right and wrong with the property. The report is about 30 pages long, and it should have pictures illustrating each section. So you should get a full breakdown of the plumbing, electrical systems in the house, and then the roof should be in good condition. After the inspection is done, the house will be surveyed and an appraiser will come out.
Yep.
And the VA appraisers are a little different than appraisers on other deals.
The VA appraisers are looking to make sure that there is, one, sufficient collateral in the home. It's worth its salt. Also, because it's a VA loan and the VA is backing a portion of the loan, they want to make sure that they are protecting veterans as well. So if they're saying, hey, veteran, you can put 0% down, they don't want you walking into a home and closing on a new home
That's a
that
problem.
isn't at least that you're going to be underwater on from day one. They want to
Yep.
make sure that you're in a safe and secure home
Yep.
that has sufficient collateral.
And then if there's anything that needs to be done in order for the service member to move in, then the appraiser can put that on the appraisal, right? So like if the roof is missing a shingle, the buyer could allow that in the home inspection and proceed with the deal. But
Right.
if the appraiser says that it needs a new shingle, it needs that before it closes. So when the VA appraiser comes over, if there's any repairs that need to be made, they'll make the appraisal subject to those repairs and then come back out and do a reinspection. The whole thing is set up to protect the service members.
Yeah.
You know, it really is a good product. Okay, so you get through the appraisal and the survey, and then it's closing day, right? And this is where everybody settles up. The title company has been working with buyer and seller and agents and insurance companies, and everything gets brought to one sheet of paper.
Even if you're putting zero down, you still have your closing costs that you'll need to pay for.
So you should expect to pay those out of pocket.
Often anywhere from 3 to 5% of the purchase price. But Andrew and I have worked with a lot of veterans before to try to reduce that number
Yep.
to as close to zero as possible, one of which being asking the seller.
Right.
It's easier to think of it overarchingly as two different categories, right? When you're buying a home, you have two parts to what you might be paying out of pocket. There's the down payment portion, and there's the closing cost portion. So with the VA loan, it's nice because that down payment portion, you could put as little as zero down, which kind of wipes that part out of the equation, but you're still left with the closing cost portion. So buying a house, there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes.
This is where the seller credit comes in. So if we're trying to actually walk into a property with nothing down on a VA loan, we do it by using that seller credit at the closing table.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking about using a VA loan and you have your lender and your agent on the same page, and you can connect with a seller that's willing to play ball, you really can set up a closing situation where you walk in with very little money out of pocket. If you're looking for more information on the VA loan, you can find the source material on va.gov. And you can go in there and find out exactly who qualifies, on what properties, and everything else. And then if you want to start a conversation with Andy, which I recommend, just picking up the phone and calling, how can they get a hold of you, Andy?
You can call, text, or email. I'm happy to break it down and walk you through exactly what your scenario might look like.